now, ladies and gentlemen,
The Funky Butt Club is proud to present
the divas who believe her,
the legend, the icon,
the man who put the I am in iambic pentameter.
the toast of Mayfair.
It's the musical show.
dang, dang, diggity, dang, 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 diggity, dang, dang.
Tina, you're on.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Hello and welcome to the musical show here on Spreaker.com. I am, of course, your host, Matt Stevens. It's been a while. I apologize for that. I lost my voice, which some would say was a good thing. I would say is not. It is not fun. It's not fun. People tell you not to talk, and it's not because they don't want you to hear you shut up. It's because you can't talk anymore. And so we're back now. We're back. We're going to be good for the next couple weeks. We got some good shows planned. Tonight is fun. We're going to do flops. It's so much fun and terrible all at the same time. It's like Grease 2 all over my screen. Oh, everywhere. I love it so much. And then next week in build-up to the Tony Awards, next week will be men who have won Best Actor for Musical. And then the night of the Tonys, we will do women who have won Best Actress for a Tony Award. See how that works out? Fantastic. But as I said, we are doing flops today. Oh, you can follow me on Twitter at TheMatchShow365. We now have Instagram as well, and that is The Musical Show 365. And you can follow both of those. And if you ever want to hear a song or anything like that, or think I'm not playing a certain show enough or whatever, just message me and we'll see what we can do. We always see what we can do. And so we got a couple different kinds of flops for you tonight. So what we're going to do is we're going to split it up this way. Instead of just doing, all shows that ran 5 performances, I thought I'd mix it up a little bit. So we're going to start with flops by famous composers. Because, you're going to hear other famous composers through the night, but these guys are like the people you think of. When you think of theater composers, you think of Rodgers and Hammerstein, Frank Lesser, Kander and Ebb, Bob Merrill, Alan Menken. So you're gonna hear a bunch of shows that did not last long by people that you would never think would have a show that didn't last that long. And it happens to everybody. I don't think there's a person, I don't think that there's anybody out there who hasn't had at least one flop. It happens to everybody, no matter how good you are, because sometimes it doesn't hit. It might depend on the subject matter, like we're going to get to right now with Rodgers and Hammerstein, where we're going to start with Pipe Dream, where they're trying to write a musical about a hooker who's going to be with this guy, but they don't want to write about a prostitute. So they push it underneath, and it ends up not being good. And it's because they tried to hide the subject matter, and it probably just wasn't being good. Although I didn't know this, but apparently they wanted the producers of the show wanted Frank Lesser to do it first. He was unavailable, and therefore they got Rodgers and Hammerstein, and flops abound. So we're going to begin with Helen Trobel, Salvatore Della Sola, and the original cast of Pipe Dream with How Long on the musical show on Spreaker.com.
Stand up to the girl like a man.
Stand up to the girl like a man.
Just let her know you run the show, and she'll go along with the plan.
Sound right.
Stand up to the girl like a guy. Stand up to the girl like a guy. And tell her to behave herself, or you'll put a mouse on her eye.
If she wants to make you wait, don't get in no big debate.
No, sir.
Don't beg and plead and pray to the girl, but stand right up and say to the girl.
And say to the girl. And say to the girl.
How long do we got to talk?
for true love. Better smile me no good dearie good day. Any flimsy dimsy looking for true love, better look her looking some other way. For my kiss can be no evermore promise, but a fancy dancy fiddle and free. Any flimsy dimsy looking for true love, better waste no time on me. Never, never will I marry. Never, never will I wed. Born to wander solitary. Wide my world, narrow my bed. Never, never, never will I marry. Born to wander till I'm dead. No burdens to bear, no conscience nor care, no memories to mourn, no turning, for I was born to wander solitary. Wide my world, narrow my bed. Never, never, never will I marry. Born to wander till I'm dead.
You're listening to The Musical Show.
Little things with fur better hurry.
Chicks and ducks and geese better scurry.
When I take you out in the Surrey.
Surrey with the fringe on top.
Whatever, it's like I'm on a hayride.
Only on Spreaker.com.
People say that today is the day when the cold will come and never go away.
God made the sun, and the sun made light, and the light cut into made day and night.
Some people say that tonight is the night when the bird will fly and eat away the light.
God had a dream, and the dream came true, and the dream cut in two was me and you, me and you, me and you. 50 million years ago, something in the sea reached above the water eagerly. 50,000 years ago, something on the land suddenly decided it could stand. Does this lonely road just go to nowhere? Can it be that there's no reason why? When in spite of all the strife and the endless dying, life keeps reaching higher for the sky. 50 seconds from right now, anything could be. I'm the future, please believe in me. Anything we need we dream can come to be.
Hey, what are you so happy about all of a sudden?
I'm not going to leave. I'm going to stay. I'm going to fight him for the girl, for the garden, for everything. The future belongs to me. I'm going to make a new world. I'm going to correct all the mistakes he made. I'm going to make it perfect. 50 seconds from right now, anything could be. I'm the future, please believe in me. Anything we need, anything we long for, anything we dream can come to be. Believe, you will see. It can come to be.
Jesus, it's years we've been climbing your mountain. Yes, it's years we've been walking your road. Lord, it's been years, far too many long counted, with a lifetime of sin as our Lord. When will we rise up and lay down our burden? Won't you tell me how long must we roll? When will we rise up and lay down that burden? Tell me, when will you gather us home?
Good evening, New York! Thank you for joining us on this, our revival's third and final glorious night. I am the Reverend Jonas Nightingale, and I know we got a house full of sinners tonight. You, sir, you sinner. Ma'am, you're sin on a stick. And you're wondering if you can leave an intermission and commit even more sin. You're all sinners, each and every one of you. But you can be saved. Tell me, what do you do when the world's a mess and your life's in flux because the economy sucks and you're stuck way down in the depths of despair? Rise up! And what do you do when you're feeling the stress and you've run out of hope and you just can't cope and you're pretty damn sure that you ain't got a prayer? Rise up! See, the worse your troubles get, the deeper you feel you're sinking, the more your one sure bet is he who reigns on high. 'Cause at your lowest low, you only got one place to go. Rise up! I don't blame you for lacking hope, but if you want to believe, and I believe you do, then take your hands off your neighbor's lap, lift them high, 'cause we're gonna make a joyful noise. Singing that'll make the rafters rock, stories that'll make your soul unlock. Even if you think it's all a crack, you'll rise up, you downtown. This is music that'll wipe away your blues, preaching that you'll find you can't refuse. Though you're mostly atheists and Jews, you'll rise up, and give unto the Lord. Now you may not know it, but there is a reason you came here tonight. You are at a crossroads in life. I know, because it was only a year ago that I myself stood at just such a Rubicon. Out of money, out of options, in a broken down bus, right where the road to perdition hits the highway to nowhere, about 100 miles south of Topeka, right outside a little town called... Brother Raymond?
Padre,
Where are we now?
just outside of Sweetwater.
Then Sweetwater is where we will pitch our tent.
Mama, Sam, talk him down.
Jonas, look around. These people, they've got nothing.
Exactly. Fellas who've been laid off at the plants, farmers who have lost their federal grants, all of them are desperate for a chance to rise
big score. There's nothing here but dust.
That's why it's perfect. Men who got no way to pay the rent, wives who wonder where their savings went. Watch them offer up their last red cent to rise up.
Jonas, it's a dying town in the middle of a drought.
I got this. These folks are stone cold out of luck. And you know what they're hoping? If they maybe throw the Lord a buck, he'll come and save their shirts. They'll be driving in from miles around with hearts and wallets open. I'll make those suckers rise up. They'll give until it hurts. Anyone got a better idea? No? Good. Then unload the bus, set up the tent, and start to spread the word. Hey! Tell them I can set that shut them straight. Tell them I can help keep off the weight. Tell them that tonight right here at 8 they'll rise up and pass the plate around. Tell them I can make their conscience clear. Tell them I can make the rain appear. You tell them anything they need to hear to rise up, and then we'll bleed them dry. Find their way to you if they got cold cash to pay to you.
Nice? Wait a minute. If you want to rise up, you have got to go higher. 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 Higher.
I can hear your words, don't you think it up higher?
Let's go up just a little bit higher. 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 We're on in our music.
And dedicate all every penny you rise up. And offer all that we can spare you. Rise up and give whatever we can spare you. Lift our voices to the sky till that happy day is.
Come on, people. Come on. Show them what we're worth. Take that tenor. Come on. Now let's get out there and save some goddamn souls.
That was Raul Esparza in the original cast of Leap of Faith with Rise Up. Before that, it was Michael Glenn Smith, Keith Charles with 50 Million Years Ago from Celebration. And before that, it was Anthony Perkins with Never Will I Marry from Green Willow. You're listening to the musical show on Spreaker.com. So that's Roger and Hammerstein. Now, it ran 246 performances, but by the Ken Mandelbaum rule, it's less than 250, considered a flop. Also, when you think of Rodgers and Hammerstein, you think longer than 250, 246. Sorry. Green Willow ran 97. That's Frank Lesser. You're thinking Guys and Dolls. You're thinking, oh my God, why? I'm totally blanking. How does succeed in business without really trying? Most Happy Fellow. You're thinking all these things. And then you got Jones and Schmidt. I mean, they only wrote the longest running show in history. And then Alan Menken. When you hear that song, right? Because that's the opening number. When you hear that song, you're like, how could this show be bad? Oh my God, they got the tambourine. It's all soulful. Everyone's going crazy. And it just goes to show you that when musicals flop, it's usually not because of the music, right? Like when you listen to most flop shows, the music doesn't ever really seem to be the problem. And you wonder when you listen to some of the ones we're going to hear tonight, a lot of times it's the script. Most of the times I feel like it's the script. It's very hard to write a script for a musical. Very hard. And it can kill a show. Also, subject matter. Like, we take shots on things that we shouldn't take shots on. Right? Like Green Willow. I'm just going to read you. This is if you go to Wikipedia, and I love going to Wikipedia to hear about these things because it's funny. This is what they say about Green Willow. This is how, who's going to go watch this? Based on the novel by B.J. Shute. The musical is a fantasy set in the magical town of Green Willow. In Green Willow, the eldest in each generation of Briggs men must obey the call to wander, while the women leave behind, care for the home, and rear their children in a hope that someday their husbands will return. Gideon loves his girlfriend Dory and would like nothing better than to settle down with her, and finds in the town's newest inhabitant, the Reverend Birdsong, an ally who will try to help him make his dreams come true. Like, what? What? And when you hear celebration, it's weirder. If you've ever seen the play Job, right, it's sort of in that style where you have these godlike characters, controlling people and trying to get them to, prove a point, that sort of thing. But they tried the bare stage thing again, and it didn't work. Leap of Faith ran 19 performances, by the way. Like, when you hear that opening number, you don't think 19 performances. You just don't. But then you hear the rest of the score. And listen, Raul Esparza is great. Not everybody's right for every show. Sometimes it's not a good match. And I didn't see it, but I can hear it. And if that makes sense to you, I appreciate that. And I also want to say this, because I do give a lot of opinions. And I want to say that my opinions are my own, and that I am not telling you to not listen to or like anything. These are my opinions. I choose to not, I don't like these things when I say them, but I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying that I don't prefer them. It's not my bag. That's all. Or I found something that I didn't like about it. But that doesn't mean you can't like it. Doesn't mean you can't think it's amazing. There are tons of shows I think are amazing that are terrible. You might hear a couple tonight. Next up, we go to Kander and Ebb. Yes, the great songwriting duo of Kander and Ebb wrote a musical called 70 Girls 70. It's about a group of old people who start robbing minks to buy their old age home. There you go. It ran, It ran 35 performances. So this is the original cast of 70 Girls 70 with Boom Diddy Boom on the musical show on Spreaker.com.
Boom diddy boom diddy boom diddy 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 boom diddy boom diddy boom diddy diddy boom boom diddy boom diddy boom diddy 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 boom diddy boom diddy boom diddy diddy boom boom diddy boom diddy boom diddy 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 boom diddy boom diddy boom diddy diddy boom 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 diddy boom 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 diddy boom diddy do a diddy diddy ever do a diddy diddy boom diddy boom diddy boom diddy 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 boom diddy boom diddy boom diddy diddy boom boom diddy boom diddy boom diddy 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 boom diddy boom diddy boom diddy diddy boom 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 diddy boom boom diddy boom boom diddy boom 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 diddy boom diddy boom diddy ever diddy boom diddy boom diddy boom diddy ever diddy boom diddy boom
when I'm broken down, all shot and threadbare.
There's a Shangri-La, and I shall head there.
To a cheery room,
a cozy bed there.
In the home for wayward girls. Look me up someday in the home for wayward girls. From the window pane, a field of green'll make me feel secure and far less venal.
The motif inside is early penal
in the home for wayward girls. Please reserve my train in the home for wayward girls, where the girls gather round each evening and get their kicks by watching Shirley Temple flicks. Why should we become dejected when we know someday we'll be corrected, we'll be loved and tubbed and disinfected in the home for wayward girls? It'll have a name like Sunny Top,
but in every doorway there's a cop.
'cause it ain't the good ship Lollipop, it's the home for wayward girls. Remember me when I used to be Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm. I was one sweet kid till I flipped my lid and was taking cocaine in the arm, where the girls walk along in bonnets and shakers through acres of naughty Episcopalians and fallen Quakers, volleyball and ballet tutus.
You get friendship, warm hellos and yous
from a host of girls who made your boo-boos in the home for wayward girls. Can you hear the giggles and the yaks when you jump and rope or play and jacks in a line of nymphomaniacs in the home for wayward, the home for wayward girls.
You're listening to The Musical Show.
Except for that time we went to see Phantom of the Opera. Let's see the gross half of your face so I can get out of here. That nose better be piggy.
Shut up.
You shut up.
Only on Spreaker.com.
Penny a tune, tunes from around the block, tunes from afar, beautiful tunes played by musicians who played for the Tsar. Penny a tune, empty your pockets and fill up our hats. Music from the shops and the cold water flats, all for a penny a tune.
All over the east side, they're making a beat for quarter time in the air, for kiddies and grannies and tenement crannies working their fannies off there. They bring us the rhythm of Rivington Street for just a penny a tune. One thing's for sure, though, we sweat and we stitch. Where folks are poor, that's where music is rich. Music tonight and the long afternoon, and only a penny a tune.
Stitch, pedal, stitch, stitch, pedal, stitch.
be working in this shop. Here with the giggles and their noises never stop. So many things I've done I thought I couldn't do. Oh, Nathan, to be with you.
The days may be long and the work may be dull. Patience and strength and within. Then music comes near it, can lift up your spirit to hear it from Sid's violin.
Oh, I got a boyfriend and his name is Ben. Ain't that a beautiful name? He's got this rich cousin, and work that Ben does in his factory will make Ben the same. Someday he'll be boss there, I know it, and then he'll be coming for me. I don't know when, but it's gonna be soon.
Left our factory in Minsk to cross the sea, and look at me, I ain't
a
come
prince
far.
among men, my Prince Street
But
tycoon.
I'll find fella here and make a family and never make another damn cigar.
Those are the dreams of a hot afternoon. Play it again for Bella and Ben, and only a many a tune.
Pots and pans and dishes almost new. Usually a dime, but just a nickel for you. Without apples, sweet as spices. Hey, you can't beat our prices. A loss we're taking, all we're making here is making do. Just a penny or
Oi.
How's it going?
Good, you?
Fair.
Yeah, tell me.
Chinese laundry?
Hi.
Mary.
Say hello.
I think I got a job.
Where?
To romances.
Posing?
Thanks for writing captions.
What about the book?
What about the book?
Nothing. Are you working on your book?
Yes,
Good.
so.
Mary.
Right, I know. Yes, me and Bozak.
I finished the one act.
I got an audition.
I started the story.
Rehearsal pianist.
So where are we eating?
I'm moving the Playboy.
The publisher called me.
I'm doing a rewrite.
My parents are coming.
I saw My Fair Lady.
I rewrote the
I
rewrite.
sort of enjoyed it.
I took out the story.
I'm meeting an agent.
We'll all get together on Sunday. We're opening doors, singing. Here we are. We're filling up days on a dime. The faraway shores, looking not too far. We're following every star. There's not enough time. called a producer.
I sent off the one
I
act.
started the story.
He said to come see him.
I dropped out of college.
I met this musician.
I'm playing a
They're
nightclub.
doing my one act.
I'm doing the red book.
I rewrote the ballad.
I finished the story.
We started rehearsals.
I threw out the story and met the musician. I'm doing the popular side.
We're opening doors, singing, look who's here, beginning to sail on a dime. The faraway shores, getting very near. We haven't a thing to fear. We haven't got time. Bum bum ba da 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 da. Bum 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 bum. How's it coming?
Good, you?
Done.
1 minute.
Amber Kevin.
Hi.
Mary.
Say hello.
I got another job.
Where?
See?
What's that?
A brand new constant pop-up picture.
What about the book?
That book.
Did you give the publisher the book?
Yes,
Good.
no.
Mary.
Finished.
Let me call you back.
This is just a draft.
Right.
Probably it stinks.
Right.
I haven't had the time to do a polish.
Will you sing?
Right. Who wants to live in New York? Who wants to worry, the noise, the dirt, the heat? Who wants the garbage cans clanging in the street? Suddenly I do. They're always popping their cork. I hate that line. The cops, the cabbies, the sales girls up at Saks. You gotta have a real taste for maniacs. Suddenly I do.
That's great. That's swell. The other stuff as well. It isn't every day I hear a score this strong. But fellas, if I may, there's only one thing wrong. There's not a tune you can hum. There's not a tune you go bum 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 da dum. You need a tune to go bum 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 da dum. Give me a melody. Or can't you throw 'em a crumb? What's wrong with letting them tap their toes a bit? I'll let you know when Stravinsky has a hit. Give me some melody. Ah, sure, I know it's not that kind of show. But can't you have a score that's sort of in between? We'll play a little more, show you what I mean.
Wants to live in New York. I always hated the dirt, the heat, the noise. But ever since I met you,
Listen, boys, maybe it's me. But that's just not a hummable melody. Write more, work hard, leave your name with the girl. Less avant-garde, leave your name with the girl. Just write a plain old melody.
they're stopping rehearsals. They ran out of money.
We asked it one issue, my book was rejected.
The nightclub is raided. I have to start coaching.
My parents are coming.
They screwed up the laundry.
My wallet was stolen.
I saw the musician.
We're being evicted.
I'm having a breakdown.
We'll all get together on Sunday.
They're slamming the doors, singing, go away. It's less of a sail than a climb. That faraway shores, farther every day. We're learning to ricochet. We still have a lot to say. You know what we'll do?
What?
We'll do a review.
What?
We'll do a review of our own.
What?
Where?
Why?
When?
Not just songs, but stories, scenes, piano pieces. Mine!
Yeah! Frankly Frank.
A showcase of our own.
Where?
The club's reopening.
We'll write a lot of new stuff.
Rewrite old stuff.
What about the girl?
What about the girl?
Only that we're gonna need a girl.
Well, Mary.
Thanks, I don't perform except at dinner. Who wants to live in New York? Who wants to worry the noise, the dirt, the heat? Who wants the garbage cans clanging in the street?
Thank you for coming. Next stage, please.
They're always popping their cork.
Up a tone.
The cops, the cabbies, the sales girls up at Saks. You gotta have a real taste for maniacs.
Thank you, you're hired.
Oh, I'm Beth.
I'm Frank.
I really thought I stank.
I'm Mary.
Charlie.
By the way, I'm told we open Saturday.
What?
I'm not serious.
Nobody's ready.
Apparently somebody canceled the booking.
The songs aren't finished.
And what about costume?
How do I learn all these numbers?
I'll bring you the copies
Not
of
to mention
everything
I
later
haven't
this evening.
Okay, but I have to have all the music.
We'll worry about it on Sunday. We're opening doors, singing, here we are. We're filling up days on our dime. Then faraway shores, looking not too far. We're following every star. It's not enough time. We're laying our doors, shouting here again. We're missing it all on our dime. Then faraway shores, looking here again. The only thing left is when we know we can count to 10. We haven't got time. We haven't
That was Jim Walton, Ann Morrison, Sally Klein, Lonnie Price, and Jason Alexander with Opening Doors from Merrily We Roll Along. Before that, it was the original cast of Rags with Penny Atune. And before that, it was Sally Kellerman and Faith Prince with The Home for Wayward Girls from the 1995 studio cast recording of Breakfast at Tiffany's. You're listening to the musical show on Spreaker.com. Apparently, I can't speak. So first I lost my voice and now the ability to speak properly. You're listening to the musical show on Spreaker.com. Okay, so let's get caught up, shall we? Merrily We Roll Along ran 16 performances. Rags ran 4. Breakfast at Tiffany's ran 0. It literally never opened. It ran previews, but never opened. The night before opening, they closed. It is awesome. Their closing date is listed as 12/14/66. It's fantastic. And that's Bob Merrill. And then you have Charles Strauss, Stephen Schwartz with Rags, and you have Stephen Sondheim with Merrily. Stephen Sondheim had two. Anyone Can Whistle and Merrily. But Merrily's a script problem. It is not a music problem. The music is spectacular. It's one of his best scores. Really, if you just listen to it again, it's one of his best scores. And it's just weird. But I love that song because that song is, first of all, if you were ever an actor or tried to be an actor, did anything, that song, you live that song. You think everything's going well, then somebody takes the rug out from under you, and then you're like, screw it. Nobody wants to hire me. I'm going to do my own show. And then you do your own show and nothing happens still. It's a whole thing. But that song is like a microcosm of the whole show, but in the right order. And that's the main problem. The main problem is that you start out hating everyone, and by the time you start liking them, the show's over. And it's hard. It's not the music. It's not the music. Rags, also not the music. Oh, God. Folks, if you've never heard Rags, please buy just right now. Not right now. After this show, go to Amazon, do whatever, and go buy it because it is one of the most beautiful scores you will ever hear. Ever. It is gorgeous. Lyrics, music, everything gorgeous. Script, terrible. And it was that was a product of timing as well, right? British invasion happened. And they got swept up in it. I don't know if I have an affinity for it because I did it in high school or because it opened on my birthday. I don't know. But I do, and I love it, and it is wonderful. It is so wonderful. And that is flops by great composer, lyricists, right? See? Nailed everybody. We didn't nail everybody, but we nailed some of the biggies. And now, financial flops. Which are interesting, right? Because financial flops run for a fair amount. Like, you're going to see a couple here that have a good run to them. But it's not necessarily always about how many shows you run. It's how much money you make as well. And if you end up losing more money than you make, even though you're running, that's not always good. It's never good, actually. It's just never good. And so where we're going to start is with Big, which is a Maltby and Shire vehicle, right? Maltby and Shire are wonderful musicians. And the thing about this show is that as I've gone back and listened to it, I've found that I like it more and more. But I did see it, and it wasn't very good when I saw it. This show ran, 193 performances. So this is Barbara Walsh from the original cast of Big with Stop Time on the musical show on Spreaker.com.
2 months old, he looks up at you. How his smile melts your heart. You want to say, stop time, don't move on. Even as you watch, that look is gone. Then he's such a little man, so alive and so smart. Again you say, stop time, stay just this way. But the future calls and he can't stay. Everybody warns you of this parent's paradox. You want your kid to change and grow. But when he does, another child you've just begun to know leaves forever. Birthdays fly, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every kid he becomes, you clutch and say, stop, time, hold this one fast. But it's not supposed to last, and that time has come and passed, for he's growing and he has to stop the clock 4 weeks ago, somehow had frozen time right there. He'd still be here, I'd see his face, I'd hold him in my arms, say forever. It can't be that he's reached 13. Now the real changes start. But he's not here. Stop, time. Don't rush life so. Bring him back, and then I'll let him go.
I ride as darkness climbs these prison walls, and when I'm safe from prying eyes, I part your lips, soft as bougainvillea. I feel you in your letters.
My Sal, I understand the anger that surrounds you, but now I take your hand and guide it through my thighs. My dream lover, wrap your legs around me. I feel your manhood, stroke your long black hair and weary eyes. We're both alike, we're spirits of imagination. You'll love the colors of the desert, gold and rust. Puerto Rican blood blending with Indian in a sacred flame of burning lust. The quarter moon stares through my window and reads your letters on my bed. I know they open all the mail I send you, but love can't be censored. We share a history, the white man broke our nation. The braves don't know the glories of our past. The barrio just another reservation. But the day of revolution is coming fast. The desert moon is my witness. I went to pump some water from the well. I saw wild horses mating in the sunrise. I dreamed of freedom for me and you, Sam. Oh, my darling, darling Sam.
You're listening to The Musical Show.
Just love musical theater.
Tradition! Tradition! Tradition!
Only if it's Fiddler.
Only on Spreaker.com.
Hunt for this man. Comb the city, every street, every grate. You put a guard at every gate, drag him out. Shout the moment that you find him. Damn! Knock in the doors, lock up the city. Track him down through this town. And be quick about it now. How the devil can I ever prevail when I'm only a man? I can never be duped by that scurrilous phantom again. I wasn't born to walk on water. I wasn't born to sack and slaughter. But on my soul I wasn't born to stoop to scorn and knuckle under. A man can learn to steal some thunder. A man can learn to work some wonder. But when the gauntlet's down, it's time to rise and climb the sky. And soon the moon will smolder and the winds will drive. Yes, a man grows older, but his soul remains alive. While those tremulous stars still glitter, I will survive. Let my heart grow colder and as bitter as a falcon in the dive. There was a dream, a dying ember. There was a dream I don't remember. But I will resurrect that dream. The rivers stream and hills grow steeper. For here in hell, where life gets cheaper, oh, here in hell the blood runs deeper. And when the final duel is near, I'll lift my spear and fly, piercing into the sky and higher. And the strong will thrive. Yes, the weak will cower, while the fittest will survive if we wait for the darkest hour. Here we spring alive, then with claws of fire we devour like a falcon in the dive. These are the days, yes, days of glory, days of rage, and the dream of Paris preys on my bones, gnawing night and day and clawing through my brain. And no, never kneel, never bend, rend him to bits, fight! Oh, the beauty of the fight. I'm not a man to hunger for blood, but the spirit can cry to be younger and fiercer and fly, piercing into the sky and higher. And the strong will thrive, yes, the weak will cower, while the fittest will survive if we wait for the darkest hour. Here we spring alive, then with claws of fire we devour like a falcon in the dive.
I'm turning my back on this life for as long as I can. Someone make me a star,
'cause I sure as hell can't be a man. I'm too fragile and clever, you know, and this universe just leaves me cold. I'm just hanging around here, I'm longing for someone to hold. You always knew, didn't you, mother? You always knew, as mothers always do. You always knew, didn't you, mother? I was a stranger in this world. This dumb education was never quite part of my plan. So you left me to ruin, but I'll always know who I am. I'm too fragile and clever, you see, and your universe just leaves me cold. I'm just hanging around here, I'm longing for someone to hold. You always knew, didn't you, mother? You always knew, as mothers always do. You always knew, didn't you, mother? I was a stranger in this world.
Whoever told you that these were the days of our lives?
The sweet boys, they crumble, the wicked ones rise and survive, and they're running our lives. Yes, they're running our lives. You always knew, didn't you, mother? You always knew, as mothers always do. You always knew, didn't you, mother? I was a stranger in this world. On a clear day, I can see myself for miles. Oh, mother. Oh, mother. Oh,
That was Yoon Morton, Raul Esparza, Liz McCartney, and the original cast of Taboo with Stranger in This World. Before that, it was Terrence Mann with Falcon in the Dive from the Scarlet Pimpernel. And before that, it was Ruben Blades and Sarah Ramirez with Wozniak's duet from the Cape Man. You're listening to the musical show on Spreaker.com. Yeah, so Taboo was the big Rosie O'Donnell vehicle. She spent like $1 billion, and it ran 100 performances. So not a big one. Scarlet Pimpernel, they ran 3 times trying to keep figuring out and fixing it. It ran 11,997 to 10,198, 10,1098 to 530.99, and 9,1099 to 1,2,2000 for a total of 772 performances and a ton of money lost. A ton of money lost. And so what we talk about when we talk about financial flops is we talk about something called gross potential, right? And so when you look at the grosses for the week, you see gross potential and you see, how many people are showing up and all that stuff. And the gross potential is how much money they think they should be able to make each week if they have playing at, say, like 90% or 95%. And when you see gross potentials at like not being met, well, you're gonna see problems. Like for the Cape Man, for instance, right? Now, their second mistake was opening in February, which is a terrible idea. Either open during the holiday season or wait till spring. But it doesn't make any sense to open in February unless you know you have an absolute smash on your hands. It makes no sense. I mean, it's Neil Simon. It's Paul Simon. So maybe they thought they did. I don't know. But it was There was protests before it started. I mean, it was written by two white guys, essentially, and it's about Hispanic. It's very strange, right? So they open, right? And their first week, right? Their first 4 performances, they were at 95%. Their gross potential was 50% met at 95% capacity. And then the next week, it goes 70% capacity to 58%. Now, the reason that's so stark in the first one is because half that week is previews, right? So they're not charging as much for tickets. So that's why it jumps the next week, even though they're at less capacity. But they never went above 60% gross potential until the last week. And that's usually when you make a little bit of money, and they were only at 62. It ran too long, and it lost a lot of money. And that's what they do. That's how financial flops are born, right? You have a producer that's just willing to just throw money at it. And then before you know it, you've lost millions of dollars because you're trying to pay people back and you're investing money because, say you have to have $500,000 a week of operating cost, and you're only making $450,000 a week in all your gross that you're making. Well, you have to cover that extra money. And so that's when you start to hemorrhage. And it just gets too bad sometimes. Speaking of hemorrhaging money, we have Sunset Boulevard. Sunset Boulevard ran for 976 performances, but is a financial flop. Because if you've ever seen it, it is ornate and huge and ludicrous and cost a ton of money to run and never, ever, ever made its gross potential, ever. But it's got some good songs, and that's why we play it. That's, of course, Andrew Lloyd Webber. This is Patti LuPone from the London cast recording of Sunset Boulevard with his As If We Never Said Goodbye on The Musical Show on Spreaker.com.
I don't know why I'm frightened. I know my way around here. The cardboard trees, the painted seas, the sound here. Yes, a world to rediscover. But I'm not in any hurry, and I need a moment. The whispered conversations in overcrowded hallways. The atmosphere as thrilling here as always. Feel the early morning madness. Feel the magic in the making. Why everything's as if we never said goodbye. I've spent so many mornings just trying to resist you. I'm trembling now, you can't know how I've missed you. Missed the fairy tale adventures in his ever-spinning playground. We were young together. I'm coming out of makeup. The lights already burning. Not long until the cameras will start turning. And the early morning madness and the magic in the making.
crowded hallways. So much to say, not just today, but always. We'll have early morning madness. We'll have magic in the making. Yes, everything's as if we never said goodbye. Yes, everything's as if we never said goodbye. We taught the world new ways to
You're listening to The Musical Show.
Gypsy. Ethel Merman's a stage mother who really pushes her daughter.
You'll be swell. You'll be great. Gonna have the whole world on a plate.
I don't have time to explain the plot of Gypsy. Yeah, sure, okay.
Only on Spreaker.com.
Excuse me, sir. What do you want now? Don't waste your pucker on some all-day sucker, and don't try a toffee or cream. If you seek perfection in sugar confection, well, there's something new on the scene. A mouthful of cheer, a sweet without peer, a musical morsel supreme. What do you mean? Toot, sweet, toot, sweet, the candies you whistle, the whistles you eat. Toot, sweets, toot, sweets, the eatable, tweetable treat.
Yes, Daddy. Toot sweets, the toot of the flute with the flavor of fruit. Toot sweets, no longer need candy, be mute.
Don't waste your pucker on some all-day sucker.
And don't try toffee or cream. If you see perfection in sugar confection,
Well, there's something new on the scene. Toot, sweets, a bonbon to blow on at last has been found. Toot, sweets, with eatable, tweetable sound. No, take that buck away.
Father, please.
He likes it. I think he likes it. Their values intrinsic
Surpass any mint stick or marshmallow mouthful you munch.
though licorice is chewy.
And gumdrops are gooey. And chocolate is charming to crunch.
That sugary fife.
That sweet of your life.
It's clearly the best of the bunch. Sweets, sweets, the candies you whistle, the whistles you eat. Sweets, the eatable, tweetable treat. Sweets, a bonbon to blow on at last has been found. Sweets, with eatable, tweetable sound.
The public will hate 'em and ad infinitum. Returns will repeat and repeat. Quite so, quite so. They look rather freaky, they're squeaky and leaky. In brief, I reject them too sweet.
Very good, sir.
I won't risk my name, my wealth and my fame on candies that no one will eat.
But Father, listen to them play.
Don't think about tomorrow. We've only got today. There's nothing that I want from you. Not a word you have to say. You are all I need, and all I can defend. All I need to hold on to if the world should end. In my imagination, I could not have made this up. In a world stranger than fiction, ours is no fictional love. I can see the you under your second skin. I can feel your heartbeat quicken, quicken and then slow. There's nothing else I need to know, and there's nothing you need to pretend. If the world should end, and the sky tonight is luminous for all the wrong reasons, and every doorway is hiding something. And if this world should all come crashing down, I wouldn't care at all. And if there's no tomorrow, I'll have today again. There's no time for sorrow when there's no such thing as time. And if the darkness will descend, don't need a savior or a friend. I can say I've really loved if the world should end.
That was Jennifer Damiano, and If the World Should End from Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. Before that, it was Michael Ball, Emma Williams, David Henry, and the original London cast of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang with Toot Sweet. And finally, before that, you know, Patti LuPone, of course, with Sunset Boulevard, As If We Never Said Goodbye. You're listening to the musical show on Spreaker.com. And Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark ran a lot. It ran for 1,000 performances. But, man, if you know anything about that show, it was wrought with problems and money and directors and closings and people getting hurt and people just losing tons and tons of money. Tons. Now, it was crazy. I think they broke a record for the amount of tickets, the amount of money they sold, right? The amount of tickets they sold, money they sold. But the operating cost of the show was so much that it didn't matter. They still lost a lot of money. And that's where it can kill you. I mean, you had Bono and The Edge. You had all these people and involved Julie Taymor, and it didn't work. Mostly because it was scary, and the first time around, people just were afraid someone was going to get hurt, and people did. And then it was just I don't know if it was too late or too weird. When we talk about gross potential, right? Their highest gross potential weeks were their last 2 weeks. And all of the other ones are under 60%, under 70%. All of the other ones. And a lot at 40 and 50. And that's because it costs so much to run. So, yeah, you can run 1,000 performances, but if you lose a ton of money, who cares? And Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was the same way. It ran 285 performances. But they lost a lot of their initial investment because, again, it just costs so much to produce. The car and all of that stuff's moving around. It costs so much to produce. It's like Sunset Boulevard. It's the same thing. It costs so much money just to put the show on that they couldn't sell enough tickets to keep up with it. And that's how they're born. That's how they're born. And instead of seeing it, right, they try and keep pumping money into it to see if people will come and people will come, and they don't. And, I mean, they're not necessarily the best shows, right? Like, Sunset Boulevard's good, but it's not great. Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark is so tortured. It's wonderfully tortured. If you like a tortured soul musical, I mean, just listen to that song. I mean, that girl, it's great. Oh, it's great. Phenomenally great. But it's tortured as hell. I mean, it's Bono and the Edge, right? So that ends our foray into financial flops. Oh, let me do this real quick. Taboo, we did that. Sunset, we did Spider-Man. I did all of them. Good, we're up to date. Now we're going to go into musicals that just didn't run. The next bunch of musicals you hear will musicals that only ran less than 50 performances. And where we're going to start is we're going to have a little fun. We're actually going to play a record here for this next song because it was not available on MP3, and I just like to use my record player when I can because I'm that person. Sorry, everybody. This is a musical called Juno, right? It's Mark Blitzstein, and I'll just read you this because they're fun for me to read, and I love it. The story centers on the disintegration of an Irish family in Dublin in the early 1920s. During the Irish War of Independence, Juno is a hardworking matriarch who strives to hold her family together in the face of war, betrayal, and her worthless husband's drinking. Again, folks, content matters. Story matters, okay? So, here is Shirley Booth, Melvin Douglas in the original cast of Juno on record with On a Day Like This on The Musical Show on Spreaker.com.
Oh, I do feel grand.
It's good to see you in gay spirits, Mrs. Boyer.
And why not? Why not? This is my day. All these treasures come my way indeed. This must be my day. And I must hold it close. I must grab it tight. Grab it, take it, hold it close. Who knows when such another comes around? I never thought to feel my feet don't touch the ground. On such a day will be granted us our greatest wish. 'Tis that sort of day, our one desire. What do you say?
On a day like this, give me loving.
On a day so fair, a day so fine, in the shine of the sun I'll be basking and be asking the one I love be mine.
On a day like this, give me fortune, line me pockets well with wherewithal. Sure, your love's very fine if you're lucky, but if you're lucky, you'll get your love plus all.
'Tis a day for naming all we prize and think the whole world of. What do you say?
What's your type of bliss? What's your pleasure?
On a day like this,
All else above, give me love, give me fortune as well as love. Give me friends all the way, me own teeth to be dying day. Just a long and happy life, one sound husband, one rich wife. Give me fame and notoriety, a seat in the lap of luxury, and everything that's good and give me love. Captain, name your pleasure.
Me? I've now a great responsibility.
I hope the neighbors all will come to me for simple sound advice alone or so. I'll want a fountain pen, a small portfolio. I'll order spectacles, the kind that pinch, a narrow ribbon running quarter-inch. I'll read those thick newspapers, take my time, and study poems that don't even rhyme.
On a day like this, give me lovin'. On a day so fair, a day so fine, in the shine of the sun, I'll be asking the one I love be mine. On a day like this,
Give me Ireland. Give me Ireland free from traitors too.
Now no fighting, no politics, no dead boys.
We want no traitors.
You heard the lady. You.
No, 'tis a day for naming all we prize, and think the whole world of.
What about you?
If it's mine to say, what's my type of bliss?
What?
I'll want little. Just a day like this, all else above. Indeed, a little of every item mentioned here so far, and also some in general, and others in particular. There's love in the country air to smell, love in a moment of peace as well. Finished ills, finished bills, love in a bower of daffodils. And now that I think of it, that about covers it. Oh, I forgot, of course. And love!
I'm lying in this tent and there's not much light, and I cannot write for long. But these words I've never said keep haunting me, and I know they can't be wrong. And I'm still a little shy to speak my mind, but the truth just won't stay down. For here in the night, there's no wrong and no right, there is only the dark. I'm alone with my heart, and now I need to tell you now. I need to tell you how you make me feel. You're like a song. I sing you all day long. A melody so strong and sweet and real. And I don't know if you'll ever feel this way, but I have to say what I have to say. I love you, and I need to tell you now.
I wonder if you knew every time we met I was trembling inside. I longed to take your hand, for we stood so close, but the distance seemed so wide. I was waiting for a time, a turn, a sign, as the days kept rushing by. And it all went so fast, the moment had passed, and I know that you're gone, but the hunger lives on. And now, I need to tell you now, I need to tell you how you make me feel. There's only now. What point is there to wait? Tomorrow is too late. I can't conceal that I may not ever have another day. So I have to say what I have to say. I love you, and I need to tell you now.
My arms are empty,
But you're still here,
like a mirage
that will disappear.
Now, the only time is now, a time to tell you how I need you near. I breathe you in, I feel you on my skin. You melt away the cold and pain and fear. And there may not ever be another day, but I know my life can't turn this way. I love you, and I need to tell you now.
I need to tell you. I need to tell you
You're listening to The Musical Show.
And I'll be Rum Tum Tugger.
The Rum-Tum Tugger is a curious cat, and there isn't any call for me to shout it.
No, Boyle, no characters from Cats.
Only on Spreaker.com.
In books, everybody has adventures, but for me, it's the same most every day. And it looks like it might be this way forever. But where there's a boy, there's a will, and there's a way. So here's my plan. One of these days, the sun will rise and it will find me on my way. I've worked it out, all in my head, and it's just like all them stories that I've read. I'm on my way somewhere, I don't have any doubt. No telling what I'll find, but it's something I cannot live without. Nobody in this town understands, so here's my plan. I'll run away into the woods, take to the trees, and I will live like Robin Hood. Steal from the rich, give to the poor, and I won't never have to go to school no more. I'll find a lady fair
share. Oh, the tears she will cry when I depart, on my way to far-off lands. So here's my plan. I will be a robber, I'll be a pirate too. To find my buried treasure, there's nothing I won't do. I'll navigate the river, I'll ride the wild frontier. All that's standing in my way is me, just standing here. So here's my plan. For too long, everyone will turn around and I'll be gone. They'll search for me, both high and low. But when they call and I don't come, that's when they'll know I'm on my way somewhere. I don't have any doubt, no telling what I'll find, but it's something I cannot live without. Nobody in this town understands. The future of the world is in my hands. Someday the boy is gonna be the man, and that's my plan. And don't tell me that I can't, 'cause I can, and that's my plan.
God loves the poor, God loves the meek, God loves the weary, and God loves the weak. But does God love little fat girls too? God loves the lame, God loves the blind, and even the lepers he don't seem to mind. But does God love little fat girls too? We know Jesus loved little children, but I think that all the kids he knew were thin. I can tell from the pictures in the Bible storybook that fasting and famine were in. God loves those who hunger and thirst, but how about those who look like they'll burst? Oh, does God love little fat girls too? I know I would have lots of fun if I could be friends with anyone. Does God love fat girls like me?
You're not fat. Well, maybe just a little chunky. But you wouldn't be if you were taller.
The other kids were yelling.
Those kids don't know what they're saying. Just ignore them and their silly game will end. I know. I remember how it hurts when they laugh.
And it hurts when you wish you had a friend.
I'll be your friend.
You will?
Sure.
I'll help you study, Eddie. Then you can become an altar boy.
Okay. We know Jesus loved all the sinners. He even went to dinner with a thief.
Well, I eat so much. If Jesus came to lunch, he'd be staring in disbelief.
That's okay, Becky. 'Cause if God loves those that other men hate, he must love those who are just overweight. 'Cause God loves
little fat girls too.
I hope you get your just desserts. And a scoop of ice cream never hurts. 'Cause God loves
fat girls like me. I have to go home now.
I'll walk you home.
Okay.
That was Eileen Blackman and Russ Thacker with Little Fat Girls from Do Black Patent Leather Shoes Really Reflect Up. Before that, it was Joshua Park with Here's My Plan from The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. And before that, it was Tam Mutu and Kelly Barrett with Now from Dr. Zhivago. You're listening to the musical show on Spreaker.com. So, Black Patent Leather Shoes ran 5 performances, Tom Sawyer 21, and Dr. Zhivago 23. I threw Dr. Zhivago in there to show you that it still happens. Even though there might be more money today than there ever has been flowing into Broadway, it's also harder to fill houses because the amount they have to charge for tickets. So you get shows that don't hit. And if they don't get great reviews, or if they don't have sort of like a major following going into their Broadway openings, like just the word of things like Hamilton and stuff, if you don't have something like that, you're probably not going to be open too long because it's going to be too hard for you to run. And Dr. Zhivago just didn't, I don't know, I didn't see it, so I can't tell you, but I can tell you that the music is, it's okay. There's some good stuff. In every flop, there's at least one song. At least. As far as I know. I haven't listened to every flop, but I imagine there's one in everyone. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, it wasn't great. I actually got to see this. I got to see one of the 21 performances. And I will tell you the only thing I remember about it, I don't remember anything except for the fact that there was this huge, like, slide thing in the middle of the stage. And, like, they had to run up this sort of steep thing in the back. And it just looked really dangerous. And I remember just thinking to myself the whole time, someone's going to fall and, like, break their leg, and I'm going to watch it. Like, I couldn't focus on the show because I was worried for the actors on the set. And they were fine. They were running around like crazy people, but this is the way it goes. And again, Juno is just content, right? It's just, I mean, I'm not saying you can't make sad musicals. There are tons of sad musicals. I mean, Phantom of the Opera is sad. It's been running for 40 years, but it can't be like just super depressing all the time. And when you have an alcoholic husband during the height of the NRA fighting with the British in Ireland, oh, geez. Sometimes stuff just doesn't work. Now, Black Patent Leather Shoes is sort of like it follows 8 kids in school, and they're sort of growing up and coming of age and finding out their sexuality and stuff like that. So, and that song is just cute, right? Like, it's just cute because she sort of can't sing it, and that sort of makes it more cute. I know that sounds weird, but it's just the way it sounds in my head. Just the way it sounds in my head. And so there you go. You have 16 for Juno, 23 for Dr. Zhivago, 21 for Tom Sawyer, and 5 for Black Patent Leather Shoes. We got one more record for you today. We got one more record to play today. It's actually turned out to be one of my favorite shows recently because I recently, the 2016 studio cast of The Robber Bridegroom, right, came out, and it's just wonderful. And if you haven't heard it, really just go listen to it, right? Because the original cast isn't available, I think, on anything but record. And so I found this album, and I listened to it, and oh, it's so wonderfully good. It's so wonderful. Now, the original is Barry Bostwick, right? That's the original. Barry Bostwick. I love it. And so this is Riches. Now, this is Robert Waldman and Alfred Urey wrote the music and the lyrics. And where we're going is Stephen Vinovich, Barry Bostwick, Barbara Lang, and Rhonda Cooley with Riches from the original cast of The Robber Bridegroom on the musical show on Spreaker.com.
Marriage is riches, it's patches of riches, it's patches on riches, so lovingly so. It's sitting on porches and biting on peaches and watching the moon rise together alone. Riches, riches, marriage is riches, riches. Yes, how much of land do you own? About 10,000 acres, but we're talking about marriage, and marriage is riches, such as I've shown. Marriage is riches, such as you've shown. I don't know,
Marriage is love in its hours of blisses and powerful kisses. I
shouldn't say where. It's womanly shudders on muscular shoulders and rumpled up linen all tangled with hair. Ain't that right, Lillian? Riches, riches, loving is riches, riches.
Yes, what's that thing on your head?
Oh, a diamond tiara, but we're talking about loving.
No, we're talking about marriage.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about marriage, and marriage is riches, such as I say.
Marriage is riches, such as you say.
Take a wife and get home, just like me and Salome. Salome!
I was just being homey.
Excuse me, you were starting to show me that marriage is riches. Which reminds me, ain't this candlestick golden?
And my bed is brocaded, so you see how I made it.
No, I've got to be going.
But you couldn't be going. We was talking about things, friends.
We was talking about riches?
No, we was talking about marriage.
Here I am, all ragged and dirty. If you don't come kiss me, I'll run like a turkey.
Yeah, marriage is riches.
Marriage is riches, such as we've said.
Dust, all dust.
Dude, all dude. Pain, all pain. Dude, all dude. Fame, all fame. Games, all games. I'm getting mad. Survival, honey.
Power, honey.
Control, honey.
Manipulate, honey.
Destruction, honey.
Lies, honey.
I'm getting madder and madder and madder and madder. Don't fiddle with my life. Don't fiddle with my life.
You took the sunshine out of his life.
All his joy and his laughter too.
You took the sunshine out of his life.
All his fun and his freedom.
You took the sunshine out of his life.
Yeah, you took the sunshine out of his life. I'm getting madder and madder and madder and madder.
Droughts, all droughts.
The whole world's gone mad,
You're listening to The Musical Show.
It's the only kind of music that the Hans und the Honeys love to sing.
That's our Hitler. No way.
Only on Spreaker.com.
Oh, you great big bridge connecting Brooklyn with New York. You don't squawk, you just do your job, and it's a hell of a job you do, connecting Mott Street with Myrtle Avenue. Oh, you mammoth suspension, Lincoln, the Bowery with Red Hook, permitting a free exchange of ideas and bringing civilization as we know it to both sides of the brook. You carried a burden alone, oh structure of steel and stone, you carried a burden alone. Oh, you big, big bastion, stretching across that watery ditch. You don't bitch, you just stick it out, and it's sticking out all over you, majestic monster who don't say boo. Oh, the moxie that you have shown out there all alone, structure of steel and stone, out there all alone. Oh, the moxie that you have shown. Oh, you great big bridge connecting Brooklyn with New York. You don't squawk, you just do your job, and it's a hell of a job you do, connecting Lynbrook with York.
Bow your head and pray, woman. And God made Eve from the rib of Adam. And Eve was weak and loosed the raven on the world.
Mama, it wasn't
and the
my
raven
fault.
was called sin. And God visited Eve with a curse. And the curse was the curse of blood. Say it, woman. And God made Eve from Adam's rib, and Eve was weak.
Mama,
And
how
Eve
could I
was weak.
know?
And Eve was weak.
Why didn't you tell me?
And God made Eve to bear the curse of blood.
It's not a curse. Miss Gardner
curse
said
of
it's
blood.
something all girls go
The
through.
curse of blood.
You should have told me!
You're a woman now. Pray to heaven for your wicked soul. The raven came to plague the world. Its name was sin.
It's not a sin.
Its name was sin.
Oh, Mama, it's
Its
not
name
a
was sin. Begin. And lust was how the sin began. The sin was man.
I don't understand.
Well, understand.
No!
The sin was man.
What have I
God
done?
has seen your sinning, just beginning. Pray for your salvation from damnation. Pray or he will burn you. He will burn you. The seed conveys the power, and it's come again.
Mama, what is this?
It's come again.
Don't you
It's
care
come
that
again.
I started to
Until the seed is
bleed?
crushed, the power never ends. It never ends. It never ends.
Mama, I was so scared, and they all stared. Then I started crying. I thought I was dying. Mama, please don't.
Have you no sense of shame? Pray for mercy, get down on your knees. Satan's staking his claim. But your soul is a hole of disease. I can see you inside.
Don't believe with your eyes.
Full of sin, full of pride.
Those are lies, Mama, lies.
That's how Lucifer fell.
Mama, how could I know?
And you're headed for hell. I
Mama,
won't let
let
you
me
go.
go.
Heaven hates a a sinner. Hate the sinner. Save yourself from burning. God, she's burning. Rather he will burn you. He will burn you. And God made Eve from Adam's rib, and Eve was weak. And Eve was weak. And I was weak. I prayed this day would never come. I should have known. I should have known. Now I'm alone and so afraid. Oh Lord, I've seen this power before. The flesh is weak and I implore. Brother, don't forsake her. Father, take her. Cleanse and purify her with the fire and the power and the glory forever and ever and ever.
That was Maren Mazzy and Molly Ransom from the studio cast recording of Carrie with And Eve Was Weak. Before that was Brian Darcy James with Ode to the Brooklyn Bridge from the 98 studio cast recording of Kelly. And before that, it was the original cast of Dude with Dude, All Dude. You're listening to the musical show on Spreaker.com. And there you go. So Dude ran 16 performances. I'm not sure how it ran that long, but it did, surprisingly. Kelly, which if you don't know the musical Kelly, I'll try to explain Dude in a second. Give me a second. It takes some time. Kelly's real easy. It's inspired by Steve Brody, who in 1886 claimed to have jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge and survived. The story centers around Hop Kelly, a daredevil busboy, and some Bowery gamblers try to prevent him from surviving a jump from the Brooklyn Bridge. And you wonder why things don't last. By the way, I've never listened to the rest of that recording because I can't get past the first song. So when I said before that all musicals, even flop musicals, have a song that is good, I don't know because I've never heard Kelly all the way through. And the first song ain't good, but it's just so ludicrous I had to play it. But I can't make it past it, so you're the only one I could choose. And Eve Was Weak. I mean, there's tons of songs from Carrie you can choose, but anytime you can have Maren Mazzy just sort of yelling about religious stuff because her daughter got her period, I mean, I'm going to play that all the time. At the end, it's forever. And, oh, it's so good. Oh, I wish I could have seen it. Don't you wish? Don't you wish you could have seen one of the 5 performances? Kelly ran 1. It closed on opening day. But don't you wish it would have been spectacular? One of the, say, what, 4,000 people to have seen Carrie, the original cast? Oh, I bet it was glorious. And Robert Bridegroom, think like Robin Hood, but in America. Like, you know, with some changes. But the root of it is basically Robin Hood in America. Like 18th century, I think. And you see how, but what's amazing here, right, is that like with everything in our culture, just because it doesn't last or isn't considered good doesn't mean it doesn't have a place in our society, in our lexicon of musicals. All these shows have a place, right? I mean, Carrie is probably one of the most popular shows ever written. It's not good. Nobody's ever seen it, but one of the most popular shows. I mean, you have Spider-Man, which is a popular show. Sunset Boulevard, which just got redone. Apparently, they didn't lose enough money the first time. And so it's not just, these don't just disappear. Like Merrily is a huge one. Big is getting done a lot in regional theaters. Some disappear. The Cape Man has pretty much disappeared. Kelly has kind of disappeared. Some disappear. It happens. Juno disappeared. Dr. Zhivago will probably disappear. Breakfast at Tiffany's never opened, so has to reappear once before it disappears. And that, my friends, is our show for the evening. I hope you enjoyed our little jaunt through the world of flop musicals where we had some of our successful composers like Stephen Sondheim, Frank Lesser, Rodgers and Hammerstein and such have flop musicals. We had financial flops, Scarlet Pimpernel, Spider-Man, Big, and we had shows that just didn't run. Juno, Dude, Kelly, and Carrie. Tune in next Sunday. That's right, folks. Next Sunday, we'll be back with another show. It's going to be all men. Well, we're going to go through and pick men who have won Best Actor in a Musical Tony Awards in a lead up to the Tonys. You can follow me on Instagram, The Musical Show 365. You can follow me on Twitter at The Matt Show 365. I hope everybody has a wonderful day tomorrow on their Memorial Day. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.